ago, same-sex marriage was legalized in the United States. Only 60 years ago, it became unconstitutional to discriminate against someone based on race, skin color, religion, sex, or national origin. Just 44 years before that, women got the right to vote. For some of us, we have recent relatives and ancestors who are alive to experience blatant discrimination for their identity. I think we often tend to take that for granted. As someone incredibly passionate about ethnic studies, social justice, and learning more about people from various backgrounds and experiences, I want to bring this passion into my work. Everyone wants to feel like they belong in their workplace, and I want to be part of that process of engagement. My dream job is to work in a company as a manager or director of diversity, equity, and inclusion. By the end of this speech, the audience will be able to distinguish the importance and value of equity, diversity, and inclusion practices within the workplace, the responsibilities of being the proponent of it, and how it improves employees' well-being. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, otherwise known as DEI, what do these words mean, and why do they matter? Let's define them. According to the American Psychological Association, diversity is defined as the representation of various social identity groups within a work group, organization, or community. Using this classroom as an example, we have people from various ethnic and racial backgrounds, different gender and sexuality identities, and economic statuses, and the list goes on. Equity is defined as allocating resources to those needing extra help so diverse populations can succeed to their fullest ability. An example of this definition could be represented as a step stool. I need a step stool to help reach some cookies on a high shelf, since I'm short. However, Professor Spratt or Brian most likely wouldn't need that same stool to get help for receiving the cookies. The stool represents the equity that I would need to reach the same cookies as either of them. The final definition describes inclusion as an environment that offers affirmation, celebration, and appreciation of different perspectives and experiences. Essentially, it's feeling comfortable enough to express who you are without fearing discrimination, harassment, or social isolation. Now that I've defined these words, let's talk about how they would be executed in a corporate setting. In the article Pride and the Role of Diversity and Inclusion in the Workplace, the company Chartered Accountants Ireland highlights 5 key aspects that diversity and inclusion practices tend to target and improve. The first is that of the emotional tax that employees from underrepresented backgrounds tend to face because of exclusion and discrimination. The intent is to mend this behavior within the workplace through implementing diversity and inclusion strategies and policies such as leadership and employee training to educate both employees and employers on workplace conduct. A large portion of diversity is establishing employee network groups where people can find others like them and build relationships based on support and understanding. And the final key aspect, the company intends to create a better line for open communication and feedback so employees feel more comfortable voicing their concerns and sharing ideas on how to improve. Finally, let's talk about how this would improve employee overall happiness. I'm sure some of you have had exposure to the debate regarding identity politics in both academia and within the workplace. It's a polarizing topic that can get ugly fast, even if there's proper mediation for the discussion. According to a 2023 Pew Research Center study, adults in the workforce were asked about their view on the value of equity, diversity, and inclusion. Luckily, 56% of workers said increasing efforts on incorporating DEI work is a good thing, and only 16% said it's a bad thing. About 51% of respondents of the study say that their work has trainings or meetings regarding DEI, and 33% say their company has a dedicated staff member to that position, and 26 have affinity groups for employees who have a shared identity. It's been shown that each of these measures has positively impacted the working environment. An example of this would be the tech giant Apple. According to their website, they have been working towards creating a more diverse and inclusive workspace. The establishment of diversity network associations, or DNAs, allow their employees to participate in affinity groups within the company. In a 2021 Statista study following the most important outcomes of DEI worldwide, 66% of respondents felt that it fostered inclusion and a sense of belonging. And 65% said it allowed them to receive fair compensation, since that's a disparity for a lot of people. To wrap this up, in my speech, I reviewed why diversity, equity, and inclusion is vital, how it would look like in the workplace, and the benefits of having such programs in place. As I mentioned before, I aspire to be someone who can help in creating this framework for a more inclusive environment. People sometimes believe that inequality ended when the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed, or when the Supreme Court ruled Roe v. Wade as constitutional in 1973, or even with the legalization of gay marriage in 2012. But that isn't the case. Just look at Roe v. Wade. This is why DEI programs are so important.